Hey, it's Charlie, and today we're going to talk about the amazing prophecies of Ezekiel 4. This is a series that I'm doing. I did something on Daniel 9:24 through 27, and if you haven't watched that, watch that first, and then I refer to this series that I'm doing now. So just keep that in mind, that you should watch the Daniel series first to understand everything that's going on and why I come to the conclusions I come to. Something I'd like to tell you is I do not prepare for these videos. I just simply sit down and start talking, and I will have a little bit on my screen or maybe a piece of paper over here or something. But most everything I do just comes off the top of my head. So forgive me when I misquote a Bible verse. I'll always say I know I'm misquoting that or whatever, but I just want you to know that this is just stuff that comes off of my head that I've known from time past or my own studies or whatever. And I think Abby prefers the impromptu speeches as well, rather than preparing for them. Gives me more time to spend with her. So in Ezekiel 4, it's a very interesting prophecy that's given there, and you would never know that in fact it was a prophecy. What he's told to do is he's told to make a little city of Jerusalem, a little model city. And he's supposed to throw darts at it, and he's supposed to, put up a pan in between him and it, and, like there's a shield between the two of them. And God has him do this. As a matter of fact, Ezekiel does this type of stuff all through the book of Ezekiel. And God says, you are assigned to the people of Israel. The things that are happening to you are actually pictures of the greater things that are going to happen to the people of Israel. So here we go in Ezekiel 4. I'll go down, and it says he wants him to do all these things. Put this iron pan up, like I said, and all that. And it says, this will be assigned to the house of Israel. And then in verse 4 of Ezekiel 4, it says, then lie on your left side and put the sin of the house of Israel upon yourself. You are to bear their sin for the number of days you lie on your side. I've assigned you the same number of days as the years of their sin. So for 390 days you will bear the sin of the house of Israel. After you have finished this, lie down again, this time on your right side, and bear the sin of the house of Judah. Okay? I have assigned you 40 days, a day for each year. Turn your face towards the siege of Jerusalem with bare arm to prophesy against her. Okay? So he's told to do these things, and he is assigned. Each day that he lays on his side, he is a year of punishment for the house of Israel. Okay, what he is doing is he's being prophesying what will happen to Israel in the future, and so we know certain things about Israel based on this. One of the incredible things that I'm going to talk to you about, and I want to make sure I don't forget to tell you later, so I'm going to tell you now, is that a guy named E.W. Bullinger wrote a book called The Witness of the Stars, and he quotes the work of other people and also his own work back in 1893. And he came to the conclusion that Israel would be under punishment for 2,520 years based on this passage. And so that's what we're going to talk about. How could he have known before Israel became a nation again that Israel would become a nation again? Because he picked up the Bible, he read it, and he believed it. All right? The Bible is accurate in all that it says. It's accurate archaeologically, it's accurate historically, it's accurate every possible way that you can find. A guy named, Simon Greenleaf was asked by his students. He was one of the great legal minds of the past century, the 1800s, and he wasn't a believer, and he was asked by his students, well, why don't you check the Bible out for yourself rather than just poo-pooing it? And so he did. He was at least had enough integrity to say, at least I'm going to try to disprove the Bible, and I'm going to go through it instead of just making stuff up like most people do. It's full of contradictions, without ever really checking themselves. So this guy, Simon Greenleaf, went and he studied the Bible. And he found out that it was true. As a matter of fact, he became the father of what's called judicial apologetics. In other words, defending the faith legally. I mean, incredible. The Bible will substantiate itself in every possible way that you challenge it. If you challenge it for prophecy, prophecy like this will come out and it'll scream at you that it's true. So, Ezekiel was told to sit on his side for 390 days and then on his other side for 40 days. Those are actually a combination of years. 390 plus 40 comes out to 430 years. Okay? Now, how long was the Babylonian exile? It's recorded in the Bible. It's also extra-biblically recorded. Okay? The Babylonian exile was for 70 years. As a matter of fact, Jeremiah prophesied it. Daniel was reading Jeremiah, he said that you've ordained us to be exiled 70 years and the time is up. Please hear our prayer and send us back, which God did. Okay? So understand that one prophet will read another prophet's work and understand that it's time for something to happen. All right? Well, E.W. Bullinger read this prophecy and he came to the conclusion it would be 2,520 years. Well, where does that come from? You have 430 years minus 70 is 360 years. Okay? They were exiled the first time, 70 years. Take that off of 430, it's 360. All right? But back in the book of Leviticus, it says, I'm going to pull up Leviticus here real quickly. It says in the book of Leviticus, if after this you will not listen to me, I will punish you for your sins 7 times over. Okay? So, these people, before Israel was ever brought back as a nation, decided that it would be 2,520 years that Israel would be under God's punishment. Why? Because the 360 remaining years, you have to multiply times 7. God is now punishing them 7 times over for not obeying the first time. What is 360 times 7? It comes out to 2,520 years. Or more specifically, if you want to get really specific on it, it's 907,200 days. And the Bible records this is going to happen. We have extra biblical evidences, the Cyrus Cylinder, the Babylonian Chronicles, that actually give the dates that certain things happened in history to the Jewish people. So we can go back to those dates, we can pull out our modern day star charts and all the things, and we can come up with the dates that will actually specify when these type of things occurred. Okay? They know down to the Julian date, the actual date 1527,461 or whatever. This is the date that this happened. And then they can look at the date that Israel became a nation again, which was 14 May of 1948. Okay? You subtract the last Julian date from the first Julian date, and you come out to, and you don't have to believe me on this, you can go do your own calculations, or you can read it online and then check. Don't just trust me on this. It comes out to exactly from the day that they were originally exiled to the day that they were returned back to Israel in 1948, exactly to the day, 907,200 days. Okay? Exactly as the Bible said, and it's exactly is published on the Witness of the Stars by E.W. Bullinger 40-some years or 50-some years before it happened. Okay? These people understood that these things were going to happen. They said they would happen. They didn't know the exact starting date. They didn't have the proper information to be able to determine that, but they knew the amount of time it would be, and to the day it happened. Now, something more interesting. Jerusalem, according to the Bible and extra-biblically, was exiled 19 years after the original exile. Okay? 19 years later. Now this almost gets spooky how accurate it is. But Jerusalem was recaptured by the nation, the modern nation of Israel, on 6 June of 1967. I'm sorry, 7 June of 1967. Exactly 19 years later, or, get this, 907,200 days after it fell originally. So you don't only have one prophecy fulfilled in Ezekiel, you have 2, because there were 2 separate exiles. The first exile out of Israel, and then Jerusalem falling. Okay, so understand that the Bible is absolutely, completely perfect in what it prophesied.